Okay, I'm here with Ben Conway, one of the guys behind the RoboSkull Mk2, which I'm really excited about. And I say this in all honesty, Ben, this is the thing that I'm excited about the most. And I've got a lot of toys and I cover a lot of toys, particularly in 1/18 scale. So can you start by giving us a brief introduction to yourself and how you got bitten by the RoboSkull bug?
Thanks, Adamson, and thank you for inviting me on, and thank you for that awesome welcome. It's really amazing to me that we're number one on the top of your things to be excited about. So thank you for that.
It's
The
true.
RoboSkull. So the RoboSkull has been number one on my things that I've been excited about for a number of years, and that's really where this all started. Was I saw the RoboSkull for Palatoy only a few years ago. I think it was 2013, maybe even early 2014. And it was the first time I'd ever seen it. I grew in the US. So, well, Adamson, you're from the UK originally, right?
Yep.
So do you remember seeing the RoboSkull when you were a kid?
Yeah, I saw it, but I could never buy it. And so, and then recently we look on the eBay, it's like so expensive. I actually posted to one of the Facebook groups from eBay, and like the cheapest is £280. Well, on Backerkit is what, 219 US. It's a damn sight cheaper, and it's a newer and there's a improved model. So yeah, I've saw it, but I've never had one. That's one of the reasons I'm super excited now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I saw this thing and my jaw completely dropped. It's on the internet, and I just had never seen it before, and I was completely fascinated and blown away by it, and ended up going to JoeCon, my very first JoeCon in 2014, and it was on my list. I'm like, I gotta get a RoboSkull when I go to JoeCon. So I picked one up that year for probably about 200 bucks. From Aaron Dietrich at Roma Collectibles, who is in the US, he's like the guy you go to get RoboSkulls. He's always had them, always used to, but the price keeps going up now. Yeah. And they're becoming harder and harder to find. So I got one in 2014, and it was, I mean, I just absolutely loved it. It's just so cool. It's so crazy. And I just really couldn't stop thinking about RoboSkulls, to be honest. And so I actually had one chromed when they had a Sky Patrol theme at JoeCon in Colorado. I actually brought I had one chrome plated and brought it to the show for the Sky Patrol theme JoeCon. So I was really just thinking about, I just really loved it. I just thought it was the coolest action figure vehicle ever made. I mean, that's really where I was at with the RoboSkull from Palatoy. And then with so many, there's so many awesome toys out all the time. It's really hard. You can't get everything anymore, as collectors. There's just so much awesome stuff, so many awesome companies making so many cool things, but no one was going to make a RoboSkull. And I was like, I want a new RoboSkull. And it's going on 40 years since anybody had ever made a RoboSkull. And so I really just started a few years ago, started thinking about it, like, hey, is this viable? Is this something that I could do? Do I have the connections to make it happen? All those kinds of things. So I was really ruminating on it for a while. And then I started making the phone calls and to see if I could pull together the team to really do this and do it the right way. Because if I was going to go after this, I knew I had to go, you got to get to 11, right? I mean, the RoboSkull is so awesome and so incredible. And if I was going to tackle this project and approach it, it was, how do we take everything that I loved about that toy product that Bob Barican did such an amazing, and the whole Palatoy team did such a great job with, but take it to the next level and make something that's totally new and all new design that really respects and is inspired by what those guys did in, way back in 1984. So that's really, and then we just kept going from there and building from there.
I think that's one of the reasons why, people, myself included, are so excited, because it's fan made, so you're a huge fan. So we can see the love and the care that's gone into the prototype and the details. And that's sort of building more excitement in this. It's not like huge company corporation just churning it out for anybody who wants to buy it. It's fan made, and it's paying, it's paying homage to the original. And that's, a real huge factor in building excitement for it. And for people who not old enough to remember the original, you've got this fantastic design as well, and all these features. It just looks amazing.
Thank you so much. And that was, I mean, that was the goal, right? Is to really respect and honor game before and make something all new. And you mentioned you really like to cover 1/18th scale toys. And for me personally, when Pursuit of Cobra came out for G.I. Joe, that was it for me. I'm like, this is exactly what I want. Where it's like I see the inspiration, all that nostalgia from when I was a kid, but they're building up on it. And John Warden and that team, when they came up Pursuit of Cobra, they modernized, they updated it, but they still had the nods without being totally slavish to the original designs. And to me, that was, and then great quality, right? Amazing quality, amazing articulation. For me, that really was the pinnacle of 1/18th scale action figures. And then of course, from there, we've had so many awesome things happen, like the Marauder figures, which I love. I got into customizing a little bit as well, but I'm never going to be as good as a lot of these guys out there on that are posted on the internet. So to have that kind of starting point, right, to be able to make a lazy custom with a Marauder figure, for me was a ton of fun when that line hit.
So let's talk about the Mark II. And obviously the Kickstarter campaign was hugely successful. It raised, how much did it raise?
We ended at $609,000. Yeah.
Pretty
So
good. And the original target was how much?
We were going to fund it at 78,000. So that was our initial funding goal. Honestly, I felt pretty confident we were going to be able to hit that. I was really hopeful that we would be able to get, maybe 200,000, maybe 50, but and that was kind of I don't know, let's wait and see. So the fan reaction to what we launched and the amount of money that we were able to and with so many people pledging, that was the thing too. We had over 1,500 backers, which was not something that I had in all my research and looking at other Kickstarters for action figures. That really wasn't a number that I thought was even feasible. So yeah, we were blown away by the response.
So how's, this is a question that myself and everyone who's backed it, that I'm sure you're asked every time. How's everything progressing with everything?
Yeah, so it's going along. I feel like it's going along really nicely. We ended the Kickstarter mid-November. And of course, we went right into the holiday season in the US here. That's Thanksgiving. And then of course, we all have our holiday seasons with Christmas and the New Year. So I was actually a little bit worried, things tend to slow down a little bit overall. So but I really wanted to make sure that we were making progress despite the holiday season, because knowing we're coming back with the Backerkit, it's really important to me that we just keep showing everyone, hey, we're here, we're chugging and we're moving this thing along. So I was really pleased with the advancements that we made since the Kickstarter, because of course we had an engineered functioning prototype of RoboSkull Mk2 at the time of the Kickstarter. But we introduced a lot of new crazy designs and a lot of new things as part of our Explode stretch goal that we were developing on the fly. So there's a tremendous amount of work that has to take place there. And so now I'm really happy with where I really am happy with sculpts have been developing. So that's been a lot of what we've been focused on, is those sculpts and getting the best possible sculpts for our Wolf Troopers and our Skeletron. And we've also been working on that 3 3/4 inch sculpt. So it's been really gratifying to see that continue to develop for the holidays and now into the Backerkit here and into January, and now we're into February already. So time
and
flies.
Obviously, I'm in Beijing and we've got 1 week Chinese New Year. So anything that's happening on this side will ground to a halt and be restarting the next week or so. So yeah, holidays do affect things a lot. So let's talk about Backerkit briefly. And so the Backerkit is open now. That's right. When does it close? For those who are not sure,
it's going to close on April 30th, and the Backerkit's open for everyone that kicked in for the Kickstarter. They could do some add-ons, and then also opened up, like we said we would during the Kickstarter, for the people that couldn't hit the Kickstarter. We actually have a Backerkit pre-order store as well. So we've got items there for people to jump on board if you didn't get a chance to get into the Kickstarter back in November.
So the
and we've got
sorry, continue.
Yeah, so we've got the items on a on a add-on, one item at a time, the backer kit, and then we've got some additional new cool stuff. So for the 4-inch collector, we've got the Joe Wolf Trooper, which is, I think, a really kick-ass version of the Wolf Trooper sculpt. And that was actually something that that Marauder Jono at Marauder developed, and I just loved it. He took his dark green camo that he's got for his figures and put it on a really decoed up, amazingly decoed Wolf Trooper to get this really cool Jungle Wolf Trooper. And then the other thing, and the thing that I'm I'm really excited about, is the Gyre Wolf figure. And so I don't know, Adam, if you had a chance to, if you read the information about our Gyre Wolf figure, but it's really a tribute and in honoring our friend Gary Goggles, who was such a big part of the community for a lot of us, and he was a big part of the community for me. He really pulled me into a lot of stuff. I actually met him at a small convention in Iowa years ago. It's called Assembly Required, a show that I've been going to now for over a decade. And that guy, Gary, he was a total weirdo, really interesting guy. But he pulled me into a lot of different stuff in the hobby. And I'm a production collector now, and I've got some pre-production things from G.I. Joe from back in 1983 when they were developing my favorite character, Storm Shadow. But that whole rabbit hole that I fell down was entirely because of Gary. I mean, he really just pulled me into it and got me involved in a lot more with the community and a lot more open my eyes to a lot more depth and things I could get excited about in the G.I. Joe community. So his passing was just such a surprise and so tragic for everyone in the community who knew him. And obviously, he left behind his partner and children, and just sad. And that hole, from my perspective and some of my friends' perspectives, has never been filled. He was just so active and vibrant in our community, and it was just special. So so much so that Hasbro, awesomely put out a figure, Sightline, and named him Gary Goggles to pay tribute to him, which was one of singly the greatest moment that I've had in collecting, because I was at JoeCon that year when they made that announcement, and it was emotional. And since then, Joe Declassified has done a tribute figure. And for me to be in a position where I could do the same thing was just something I really wanted to do. So we've got Gyre Wolf, which is a play on his online handle, Gyre Viper. And all the proceeds from the figure are going to go to Gary's family. So that's and it's a really cool figure too, by the way. Silver and black. He's completely different looking. We've got an amazing head sculpt of Gary underneath the helmet. That was sculpted by Fred over at Boss Fight, who I think is just easily one of the very, very best sculptors out there. And we're offering both those figures in 4-inch and 6-inch scale. So that's awesome. Excited about both of those figures, and obviously you know why now. So
I have seen it, and actually he's in my cart. I'm one of those who's gone to Backerkit, put things in my cart, is like, okay, I can't pay yet. I wanna add some more. What do I want to change? It's like it's getting bigger and bigger. I'm one of those many who are gonna spend more on Backerkit than the actual Kickstarter campaign. So music to your ears, I'm sure.
That's great. And we're at the end of the day, I'm making figures, and my team's making figures with me that we want, right? That we're excited about. And so we're like, hey, we think maybe other people will be excited about this stuff too. And in fact, that the stuff we're making and designing is resonating with other people is just really, it's really fulfilling and so much fun.
So with the backer kit, for those who didn't back the Kickstarter, is that a different URL? It's a different internet address for that one, or is it the same?
Yeah, it's a slightly, it's a different internet address. So we've got links all over the place. So on our link tree on Instagram, it's at the top. If you go to skeletron.com, you can find that link.
And I'll stick one in the video description for this video, so those who didn't back the Kickstarter can obviously go into there and they can purchase some Skeletron, some RoboSkull Mk2 goodies, and they, trust me guys, these things are looking amazing. So that has the same end date as a normal backer kit, the end of April, is that correct?
That's right. So the end of April is when we're going to charge cards for both the backer kit for the Kickstarter and for the pre-order. If you use PayPal, that transaction happens immediately, but otherwise you can put things in your cart, you can play with it, see what your totals are. And that's important too, because we are offering global shipping. That was really important to me, that we go through those extra steps. I think a lot of collectors are aware in, UK, Ireland, other places, that the VAT situation makes it really difficult to navigate and deal with as the United States. But it's just something that, I mean, again, it's all about respecting the, that product, the original, the Palatine RoboSkull came out of the UK. Okay. We can't leave the, that team out, out of it when we're looking at what we're providing here. So, but you can go in and see the shipping, and if your country charges the VAT, we're collecting the VAT up front, so that won't get snagged for another 20%, like in some, in the UK and other places. So we're collecting that up front, go right through at time of fulfillment. But you can see all those numbers before, you finalize your order, which will get collected on April 30th.
That's good. I noticed something just this morning, actually, when I was looking in Backerkit again and on the Facebook group. Now, maybe I'm missing something. In the Facebook group, it had packs of 5 figures, but I can't see them on Backerkit. I only see individual figures. So how does that work?
So we offered a lot of packages and groups of things on the Kickstarter that we're no longer offering, like our all-in package, or we had an elite package, and we had a lot of different bundled packages for the Kickstarter that were only offered to those Kickstarter backers. And so now the item on the backer kit and for both the pre-order store and for Kickstarter backers are the add-on items. So they're individual add-on items, are the same price as you could get at Kickstarter. They're just not offered in the bundled packages that were offered in the original Kickstarter. Although those, I will mention, if you are thinking about getting a RoboSkull and you're not sure, I can tell you without question that when we offer these after the April 30th closing day, price is going to go up. So the price that we're offering is $219 for those on the site right now, $219 USD, and also very last chance to get the special edition that includes the 4-inch Weasel Pilot with its unique helmet and unique head sculpt under the helmet too. So
I think it's great that they actually come with a pilot, come with a figure, which is adding to the value, and it's a decent price. People might say $219 is a bit much, but actually no. Look at some of the other lines that are around and some of the vehicles and stuff that they release at that price point, and they don't come with figures. So I think it's actually very good value, and it's such a cool looking ship with so many features, so much work. In fact, scrap that, so much love has gone into it. I think it's really, really good.
Well, the value proposition got better and better because we had so many people supporting it and so many people backing, and so we had to keep coming up things that we ran out of. We had a full stretch goal package that we blew through in 48 hours, and had to make all this other cool stuff add in. So you guys unlocked. We did the gear upgrade for the pilots, so they've got the combat claws and the extra jetpack. We've got the breath effect, and then we decided to add in, there's going to be blast effects on the wing cannons. 4 of those are included. There's 3 assassin Skeledrones that come with every RoboSkull. And so there just kept being more and more things that we added in. Oh, and then the RoboGlow eyes, so that the eye cans are swappable. You'll get a pair of, see, I can't even
Armor,
remember
the
all the
flight stand, so many things.
Yeah, yeah, and the armor and the flight stands are add-ons, but all that other stuff I mentioned is included in the base of the RoboSkull.
So it's really good, really good value. Okay, let's move on a little bit. Still, obviously, still RoboSkull. This is I want to talk about color palette, and it's just so you guys who are watching. I spoke to Ben before we started recording about this, so he was aware of what I was going to ask. So lots of us like to customize figures and customize stuff. Now, I can be very, very particular. I want my colors to match exactly the same or as near as possible. So in the future, is there any possibility of telling fans and people about RoboSkull what the nearest alternative color paint is to the RoboSkull paints or RoboSkull colors, whether it's a Games Workshop paint or whatever, if they want to do color matching for figures or other vehicles, if they want to customize and fit into their RoboSkull universes?
That's an awesome question, Abs. And for the viewers, I have to say, you did give me a heads up, but only like what, 15 seconds before we went live. So I didn't really have time to pull together a comprehensive answer to the question. That's a really great question. So I do not have that information, but I think that's something that we certainly will be able to find down the road when we get all our Pantone matches for all the figures. I can tell you that the Jungle Wolf Trooper is a dead match to the green camo figures that Marauder is already offering. So that figure will be compatible with all that dark green camo army that you can already get off of MarauderInc.com right now.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so obviously now your focus is obviously, okay, we've got this Kickstarter. It's been funded super successfully. This is a labor of love. We want to deliver the best product we can. That is your focus. That's what you're concentrating on. But your mind must have wandered a little bit towards the future. And this is what we know lots of people want to know. What is the plans for Skeletron for the future? Are you looking at more classic Action Force vehicle updates, perhaps? What's going to happen there?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I get asked that quite a lot. And the real answer is that we're developing things. So we've got a ton of ideas. We've got a lot of things excited about. And so we are working on what's next. But when I say I'm working on it, it's more concept and discussion and conversation, because the real work right now is focused on, all of the things that we have to get prepared in order to fulfill this Kickstarter. So the hard work right now is making sure our sculpts are good, our packaging, our artwork, all of the things, getting our tooling in position and all that kind of stuff. So that it really is the focus of what we're working. Are we also talking and thinking about what will happen afterwards? Yeah, we are. It's too early for me to tell you, and I'm not holding back because we've got a lot of ideas, but it really is too early for me to tell you, like, here's what it's going to be, because we're kicking around a lot of ideas, and I think that those things will tend to coalesce over time. And like in some of these things I couldn't have predicted. When I first set out to this project, the focal point really was the RoboSkull. And then it grew, right? It's like, oh, this is so amazing. We have to have a pilot. Every vehicle has a pilot. We got to figure that out. And so we add to it. And then we had so much fun building these we expanded it, and the react so strong. We've really got a whole wave now of figures that we've been able to develop because of the strong response to the original Kickstarter. So, which is a lot of work right now for us to work through that wave, get everything delivered, and then in short, I guess I'll tell you, are we going to do more after that? Yes, absolutely.
So okay, maybe you don't know this yet. Maybe you do. So the stuff that you're doing concepts for now for the future, will it, like the RoboSkull Mk2, be compatible with both 112 and 118? Is that in the plans for the moment, or is it you look purely at the 118, or maybe do two separate?
Yeah, I think the plans right now are to continue both. I feel like our development of a vehicle that was compatible with both really helped us just I think it just was a good one. It was just a really good idea.
Oh yeah.
And then it also helped to appeal to both 4-inch and 6-inch collectors. I have to admit, I was a little bit giggling when I saw some of the posts online when we were teasing this about like, oh, it's going to be 4-inch. Oh God, I hope it's 6-inch. No, 4-inch. And we have this little like scale war amongst our friends sometimes about which scale, you know, things go. So it was really fun to be able to introduce it as working for both scales. And now that we've offered the figures in both scales now too, due to the response, we fully intend to continue to offer figures at both 4-inch and 6-inch scale. And I would expect to continue to do that in the future. The only reason that we wouldn't is if it becomes not viable, right? If there's not interest in down the road, if there's interest in the scale, and we're not able to do a minimum, you know, not able to garner the interest, then unfortunately we'd have to, you know, drop a scale. I can tell you, I don't see that happening right now. You know, the scale in the figures and looking at the 4-inch and the 6-inch, we're seeing a lot of activity on both sizes. So we're seeing, which is really great, that we're able to keep both of the 4-inch and the 6-inch going. So I'm very pleased with the response to both scales of figures.
I mean, I think it's great because you've got a vehicle that's fully compatible and very well scaled for 6-inch, and then because it's big or it's scaled for 6-inch, you can get more 4-inch figures in there. It's like it makes it bigger for your 4-inch figures. So it's like great for us 118 scale collectors. So I think it's a really good idea, and I think it's been delivered fantastically from all the pictures and the videos that I've seen about it. And I've got to say this, I keep going back to the Kickstarter campaign and rewatching the video again and again and again. It's like I keep building myself up. It's like, oh God, I'll wait a year. But you know, but it's just really fantastic. So with future plans, so obviously it's concept stuff, it's maybe Action Force. Is there going to be a Skeletron's own universe of toys, as it were? I mean, obviously the RoboSkull has multiverse appeal. It's your own universe, it's Action Force, it's G.I. Joe, it's G.I. Joe Classified, it's Star Wars, it's whatever. But will Skeletron have its own universe?
I think so. I definitely think so. When we started out, it was really like, you know, my pitch was the RoboSkull exists in every universe. You know, it's got to be everywhere all the time. And as we develop more figures and develop more characters, you're going to see some of that take shape in our version of that universe. But at the same time, I do want to keep it pretty. I do like to keep it a little, you know, especially right now. I think it's a little ethereal, a little loose. Is good, because I know I've got friends who, you know, they view it a certain way, and these other guys view it a certain way, and this is how it fits in their collection. And everybody's got a little bit different perspective on it. And I think that's so much fun, you know, to kind of mix it up, and you kind of decide it's going to. So we will build, you know, we're going to build on what we've already started with. But we're not gonna, I can tell you, you're not gonna say, here's a comic book with our whole universe defined in the next, you know, coming out in the next few months. That's not really our focus. The focus is making really awesome full cast action figures that you can put and fit in where you want them to fit in.
So with the Mark II, what would you say was the two questions? Both are most difficult. What was the most difficult part in getting the whole thing to where it is now? What was the most difficult part in creating the production model?
So the thing, I think there's a few different parts that, depending on how you think about it, can be the most difficult. I think when you start with a blank canvas and you're like, okay, let's make an awesome new vehicle. That's a pretty daunting task. And so that was really for me to even like, where do we even start with this? And fortunately, we brought on a guy who was recommended to me by the name of Alex Wu, who got some other toy lines. He's actually based in Hong Kong, and he is just so incredibly talented. He just hit us right upside the head with all these amazing concepts right out of the gate. And so that was just a really went from being a really daunting, difficult thing, like where do we start? All of a sudden we've got a half a dozen amazing concepts, and which ones do we think are the most spectacular, and then how do we refine them and make them better from there. So once we kind of set a direction, it really became a lot of fun. Such a good designer. I can't even express how talented he is. He did a lot of drawings for us, concepting in 2 dimensions. Just, you know, here's the front view, side, top, bottom, and it was kick ass. I mean, it was amazing. I was like jaw-droppingly awesome. And we kept doing revisions and refinement. When we finally got to the 3D stage, it started to dawn on me more just how much more talented and better he was at these concepts than I even realized, because the thing looked gorgeous from every angle. You know, I'd seen it in a few different views, and then when we got the 3D model, started putting that together and started looking at it from all these angles, you know, everything just came together. And it was really clear that he, even though he was sketching it for us in 2D, he clearly had an entire vision what it was going to be in 3 dimensions, which was really cool.
Had he been exposed to RoboSkull before?
He had seen it, yeah, and I seen it, but again, it was one of those things where we really wanted to, you know, we wanted a new design, right? So we didn't want to be, we wanted to pay dues, but not be the same and be, you know. So it's strike, and again, it's all about striking that balance, right? Of hitting the sweet spot. Another really big challenge was fitting everything in. We have, you know, we wanted to get that prisoner transport in the back. We wanted the jaw to articulate. We wanted to show missiles inside. We wanted to fit 2 figures. We had a lot of requirements for what had to be packed in thing. And it's a lot of stuff. And the more ideas we had, the more I just said, oh, that's too cool. We have to do it. So I think fitting, you know, just adding and packing and refining everything to fit everything in there was another really big challenge. The project grew a lot from where I had started, as far as like just an estimate of what we thought it might cost a tool. It got way beyond what we initially thought it was going to be, because at no point, here's the other thing about this, that at no point did we say, and as far as difficulty goes, I'll say this, we didn't really feel restricted, because I just kept saying, we're going to make it, we're going all in on this. If we have a good idea, we're going to build it in, we're going to make the best, coolest vehicle that we can make. And yes, at points that's going to increase the cost. But my belief was, if we need something that appealed to us as a collectors and did everything the right way, even certain features that added cost, that would resonate with a collector. And that's the approach. So we didn't do, we tried to be smart. We didn't want to be wasteful on costing, but we also didn't cost cut things that maybe another company would have to do, right? Like, hey, you're authorized to hit this price point. Here's what you have to do. Okay, it's coming in high. You got to bring it down. We didn't do that. Said, let's just make it as cool as we can, and then let's offer it at the most aggressive price. After we're done, whatever that price point is, let's get this aggressive price point we can offer to people on Kickstarter. So that was the approach.
We're all very thankful for your lot of effort and work that you've put into this. It's looking, you know, really, really amazing, I have to say. So
thank you.
Let's just come back to you. So let's talk about Ben very, very briefly to finish up here. So what's your toy collecting background, or your toy background? What sort of toy lines are you into? You mentioned G.I. Joe, obviously. So what else?
Yeah, so I got really heavy back into collecting. I left collecting when I was an adult, and got back into it around 2007. I got back into it when G.I. Joe 25th came out, and then just kept getting more and more. But that's what we sucked in, kept going deeper and deeper. So I've been a G.I. Joe collector, an avid G.I. Joe collector again since 2007. As a kid, lots of toy lines. So I've tried to stay focused. I'm not really good at it. So I love the new NECA turtles that are come out here in the US. They're at Target. I've been getting, I started saying, okay, I'm going to get those. Now those is so many toys. So it's a lot of action figures. I buy a mishmash of a lot of different things because there's so many cool toys out right now. I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons guy, so I love fantasy packs. I love the boss fight 1/18 product. That's something that that I sink a lot into. I also really love the new 6-inch stuff that's coming out. So I'm in that boat where I love both. So it wasn't a big stretch for me to, when we were concepting this, is there a way we can do 4-inch and 6-inch? Because I like both scales. And for me right now, the G.I. Joe classified line is just easy. So I just love that line so much. That G.I. Joe, from my perspective, the G.I. Joe team over there is doing an amazing job. I just love that line. The rest of my team loves that line. Mark, who's my partner in crime on Skeletron, you probably see him posting in our Skeletron group. It's his favorite line, is classified, and so we're really, that's a benchmark for us amongst all the other incredible stuff. I mean, I've got pre-orders for things that I would never have imagined, like Golden Axe video game. I've got the dwarf with the chicken pink thing, like I don't even know what it's called, but I love it. And I'm like, I hope that shows up soon, because I'm really excited about that one. So I've got a whole smattering of things that I've been buying, and it gets to be quite a bit. But my core collection is G.I. Joe. And then also I mentioned a pre-production collector. So I love Storm Shadow's my guy ever since I was 5 years old, my first G.I. Joe. So Storm Shadow's my number one favorite guy.
Cool. Well, Ben, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. And I just want to thank you for giving up your Saturday evening, because just for those who are watching, for me, it's like, at the moment it's like 11:45 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday, and for Ben there it's like 9:45 p.m. on a Saturday evening. And so he's given up his Saturday evening to speak to me and obviously to you guys, and I'm really appreciative of you doing that for us.
Well, thanks for inviting. It's been fun to talk to you, and some great questions. And I love. What's better than talking about toys on a Saturday night? Really?
Exactly. it's the best thing ever. All right.
I totally agree.
So for everyone from Awesome Action Toys, the fans, subscribers, and anyone who just clicked on this video just by chance, we just want to give you a big thank you, Ben. And for everyone watching, please check out the video description. If you didn't back the Kickstarters, there'll be a link to the pre-order, which will be cheaper than when it goes to retail afterwards. So remember, get your orders in before the 30th of April to get the better prices. Okay, guys, stay happy, keep collecting. Until the next video, thank you, guys.